Nekamla, nekamla, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat, nekamla, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, U'mevorach. Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, U'mevorach. And with a big Shabbos breath, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat, nekabla, Lecha Dodi, Likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat, nekabla, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, U'mevorach. Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom to you all. Tonight's service, this time that we gather here for sustenance, for rest, for energy, for connection. Tonight's service we dedicate to the idea of chizuk. And the word chizuk comes from the same root as the word chazak, which means strength. When we offer chizuk, we are helping to strengthen each other. We are offering spiritual and emotional encouragement and support. At this time, I believe all of us could use some chizuk on this final Shabbat, this last Shabbat of June. This is our 16th online service, Shabbat service. Our last in-person service was on March 6th. At that time, Purim was fast approaching, and we studied a verse of Megillat Esther, where Mordechai says to Esther, Mi yodea im la'at kazot higa'at lamachut. Who knows if it wasn't for just such a time as this that you became queen? And we talked about the fact that who knows doesn't seem to be a terribly confidence-inducing phrase. Who knows? But Esther is set into motion by these words. In spite of her fears and her resistance, Esther takes radical action. Who could have known then, on March 6th, even with uncertainty and fear increasing with each passing hour, that the world would look as it does now, with a double pandemic facing us, the months of COVID-19 pandemic and the centuries-old pandemic of systemic racism. The work in front of each of us, just like it was in front of Esther, is enormous. And I know that each of us are digging deep to stay afloat and to rise up. I can hear Mordechai saying to us, who knows if it isn't just for this time that you are meant to be doing what is so difficult and frightening and challenging. So may we find chizuk here, continued chizuk, the strength and support the ease, the resilience that we need to answer the call for justice and for healing. And so on this Shabbos Eve, we turn to the ancient tradition of kindling light as Shabbat begins. We begin with words taken from a poem by Suzanne Sobransky, the end of it. She says, "Though our world has been turned upside down, God still provides Sukkot Shalom, the shelter and peace of the day of rest. Shabbat cares for us as we celebrate Shabbat. We care for Shabbat as it celebrates us. Shabbat is our connection to each other in all times." Please get your candles out too if you have them. We can join together in this bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlek ner shel Shabbat. And with continued gratitude that we can be together in this sacred space, how blessed we are to be together. Hine ma tov shebeirach gam yachad, hine ma tov u'manai, hine ma tov shebeirach gam yachad, hine ma tov u'manai.
A man, backed by a few supporters, walks through the center of the community, loudly voicing his complaint. Who are the leaders who claim authority over him? What right have they to decide his fate without first hearing his voice? The crowd around him swells, others joining their voices to his grievance as he approaches the imposing edifice at the center of the community. By the time they reach their destination, they have become a huge crowd, enough to scare those inside the imposing structure. Two men, robed in clothes that indicate their power and authority, step out to meet the gathering. One carries a club in his hand. The other stands behind the man, apparently shielded by the confidence the man with the large stick exudes. The crowd gathers closer, growing louder in their complaint. What right have the leaders to claim authority over them? Has their flawed leadership not shown that they are no less fallible than any? Are not those gathered just as worthy of authority and power? The time has come, the crowd demands, for authority to rest elsewhere. At first, the man with the staff seems to try to engage the crowd. Don't you see the benefits you've already wrought from the society we have built? Better surely than you could have expected. This is the path to, if not the promised land. Be still, be patient, wait. Surely you are misunderstanding how much you already have. Surely you would not risk all this goodness for an uncertain future. Be still, be patient, wait, says the man with the staff. But the crowd is tired of words that change nothing. In their souls, they know themselves to be equal to those who rule. So how to account for a world in which they live subservient, generation after generation? The game must be rigged. They've realized nothing has been left to chance or ability. Instead, who you were when you were born will determine how you live and likely how you die. And so again, they raise their voices, demanding that those who hold that extreme power recognize that they are playing God when they play with their lives. Now let me, the narrator, jump in for a second, because my head is such a busy place at this point as I read the scene from this week's Parshat Korach. Please, please, I find myself begging. Please recognize what is happening. Please, Moses and Aaron, take the time to do the work of your heart, your mind, and your body to accept what must change. Please, in your heart, acknowledge your fear, the voice that quakes deep down and says, inside and says, what will I lose? Please take time to listen and realize that their words make sense. It cannot be that some people deserve to suffer more if the system is just. Take time to think and realize the game is indeed rigged. And please, I find myself thinking, please put down that staff, the symbol of your power to act against those who come to you looking for justice with no fear of consequence for yourself. And does our beloved, revered, often spoken of as humble ancestor Moses recognize what is demanded of him? Does he lay down his staff as he's governed and tell them, as Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt imagines in her modern midrash he does? Does Moses look down at that staff that he holds and recognize that it is a symbol of power? With it he has brought plagues unto the oppressors of the Israelites and split seas. Does he see that it is the instrument through which Moses has channeled the power of God? And does he stare at it for a moment once again before speaking, saying, Korach, you are right. We have led to the best of our abilities, but I cannot deny that we are lost in the wilderness. Does he do these things? No, he does not. And is it unfair of me to ask historical figures to live up to modern ethics? Yes, indeed it is. But then I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror, and I notice the staff in my hand. I pray that this week, the week of Parshat Korach, as we move from June into July, that in this time we find the chizuk that Beth spoke about, the strength we need as we are learning to look at our own reflections, the reflections of the world we are a part of in the mirror. The work is enormous, as Beth said. But who knows? It may be that the person in the mirror is just the one called to do it. May it be so for all of us.
Amen. Yasher koach. Rom'mu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Rom'mu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Rom'mu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Rom'mu. Rom'mu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Rom'mu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Rom'mu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Rom'mu. Rom'mu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Rom'mu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu lehar kodsho.
We can't sing together on Facebook. The pages rustle, the chairs scrape. We all rise as we are able. Beth talks and strums and the chords swell. In unison the sanctuary fills with our sound. We know the melody and we know the words. We don't need to think. My voice fills me from within. Our voices lift and surround us. The meaning of the Hebrew eludes me, but music is an arrow straight to the heart. It is longing, it is comfort, it is sadness and joy. It is a prayer. Subtle changes in the song guide us to the end. We finish together in a still small voice. We all knew what to do. We've been singing together for years. I miss this so much. we can't sing together on Facebook.
Come, friends, let us turn our hearts, our singing hearts, toward peace and wholeness, toward sacred rest and renewal, so needed. When we get to stanza 9 of Lecha Dodi, we can turn to face the west toward the setting sun, or toward a door or window, or simply place your hand over your heart to welcome in that healing presence of Shabbat. Lecha Dodi, lecha kalaya, lalaya, lalaya, la, dinei Shabbat, lecha velaya, lecha Dodi, lecha kalaya, lalaya, lalaya, la, dinei Shabbat, lecha velaya. Oh, Shamor, Bizarre, Bidibor Echad, Hishmi Anu El Amiyuchad, Adonai Echad, Ushmu Echad, L'Shemo L'Tiferet L'Tila, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya. Oh, Lechan Shabbat, Lechu v'Lecha, Ki Mikor HaBaracha, Merosh Mikdem Nesucha, Soma Aseh B'Makshav Achila, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya. Oh, Hitoreri, Kiva Ore, Kumi Ori, Shir Daberi, Kevod Adonai, Alai, Nigla, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya. Oh, Vo'i Mishalom Ateret Valam, Gam Besimcha U'Betzhala, Tov Emunei Am Segulam, Vo'i Kala, Vo'i Kala, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, 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 B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya, Lechan Dodi, Lechan Kala, Yala, Yala, B'nei Shabbat, Lecha velaya. The Chatzi Kaddish serves as a doorway from Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of Shabbat, into the evening service, into the Ma'ariv service. Take a moment just to note what is happening within you as we rise in body or spirit to chant these ancient Aramaic words together. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Ve'alma divarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, V'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala u'vizman kariv, V'yimeru Amen. Yehi Shmeira v'mevarach la'alam ul'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shemei Kudisha Barechu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ba'alma ve'yimeru Amen. And feeling that ground beneath our feet, touching into the endless reservoir of wisdom and light that exists within each of us, we find our way home. Barechu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Barechu, dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I call on the light of my soul, I come home. Dear one, Shekhinah, holy name. When I come on the light of my soul, I come home. The seasons alternating as we move into this warm season, looking at the setting sun, giving praise for the evenings. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day and then day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyom alayla, boleh armin nechoshech, boleh armin nechoshech, nechoshech mibneo. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. We are living very deeply into our strength and also into our radical vulnerability. May this time call us to act with generosity, with love, with respect toward all who share this planet. Listen. Listen for the one who connects each heart to one another. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. We turn to Ve'ahavta, these holy acts, these spiritual practices. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha ha'vaderech uv'shofbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam la'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת ואמונה כל זו.
Shabbat Shalom. Speaking from the same root word, I figured that I would share a small moment of peace from these hectic times. Among protests and pandemics, I, like many of you no doubt, find solace in the little things. The wash of a river, the glimmer of stars, the tiny skills that I learned to stave off idleness, how to make a kind of okay French omelet, hand sewing, and, as it happens, the electric slide. Although maintaining routine is hard for me, I figured I would share with you a small bit of my day, a little slice of my routine. The beginning of this year, in an effort to make 2020 a year that I naively assumed would be like the others, something special, I committed to write something every day. Didn't matter what, a journal, a poem, anything really, but I decided that as long as I put pen to paper every day, that would fulfill my resolution. And on the days where I somehow forgot or I missed it, I would have to make up a word for every day. So I ended up with an interesting new lexicon of neologisms from that. And I thought, well, except the thing is at the beginning, I didn't really think I would last that long. I thought I might last a month. I thought, maybe even a few weeks. I really did not trust my own commitment, but here I am. This is just an entry from yesterday. This is what I wrote. This is sort of the continuation of my own endurance, and I think that's something that hopefully I can pass on to you guys. It's sort of become an exercise in perseverance, right? Just to continue committing to something even through all of this. So just wanted to send my love to everybody. Keep courage, guys. We can do this. Shabbat Shalom.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילו, עושה פלא, עושה פלא. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך these days, we could all use a little help making each one of our days a song of praise. May our steps be guided toward peace. Ufros, Aleinu, Shalom. Spread over us a sukkah of peace. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Ufros, Aleinu, Shalom. Ufros, Aleinu, Shalom. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Oh, guide my steps. Oh, guide my steps. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it an oneg will rejoice in your realm. Let us turn to the words of Yismechu. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadesh Shebeirach. Yismechu Lecha Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat. Chemda yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh Barechu Shabbat. Zecher l'maaseh Barechu Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. We turn now to the words of the Amidah on page 25. If you're following along in the prayer book, we'll chant the first three brachot aloud together and then take some time for private prayer reflections of the heart. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agidilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agidilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imachot Umevig Ula Livnei V'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Umoshia Umagin Baruch Atah Adonai Magin Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye hakol atah rav lehoshia. Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishene afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidomelach, Melech memit umechayel, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman ata lahachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'cho yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
A poem for Shabbat, found by Suzanne Zabransky, with gratitude. We are holiness. We are blessed. We are filled and sustained by gifted and ingrained On Shabbat, we rest with intention. We breathe in the divine spirit and release the tumult of the week gone by. We take a few moments to simply be present. We rediscover our connection to our Creator. In that quiet moment of truth so profound, alone with our source, we see our own reflection and find that we have also found ourselves.
Amen. May peace and goodness, blessing, grace, and compassion flow to all who dwell on this earth. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, ba'olam achen v'chesed. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, ba'olam achen v'chesed. Verachamim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Amecha. Verachamim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Amecha. Sim Shalom Uvracha, ba'olam achen v'chesed. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, ba'olam achen v'chesed. Verachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Amecha. Verachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael Amecha. We turn now to the words of Shebeirach, our prayer for healing. I was thinking today, and especially after hearing the words that Rabbi Carey shared with us so beautifully about this week's Torah portion, Korach, that I've been reading that portion for years now, and the earth opens up and swallows those who raised the rebellion against Moses. And this year, it took on a whole different meaning. And I was thinking about how easy these days, these months, it has been to get sort of swallowed up by sadness and fear and despair and loneliness. And so this Shebeirach tonight, I'm thinking, let's keep an eye on each other. Let's keep our hearts on each other and to watch ourselves as we deal with these things that can so easily swallow us up in this time. So this Shebeirach is for all of us. And we turn in particular our prayers toward those in need of healing on our sacred list tonight. Charles Macia, Sarah Lee Tableson, Adam, Nick, Travis, and Maureen Mortel, Emma Jules Charney, Ariella Korn, Alan Travis, Joanne Travis, Robert Ansel, Matt and Barbara Lunin, Wendy Green, Roger Boffman, Sheldon Cohn, Yehezkel Ben Hildegard, Pamela Zimmerman, Janice Wiesenfeld, Phyllis Marshall, Sandy Samuels, Debbie Bouteau, Sam Sachs, and Jerome Sachs, Louise Avedon, Nadia Finkelstein, Joel Steiner, Andy Andriopoulos, Mark Bosenson, John Saladino, Marianne Saladino, Rosalind Hoffman, Joel Meeks, Jane Beswick, Judy Planchin. Continued prayers for Audrey Roth, Bernice Hutzler-Stein, Tina Duffy, Debbie Gilman, Niels Daniels Midman, Abraham Lyons, William O'Brien, Ron and Patty Shepard, Mary Jane Gendra. Continued prayers for Jennifer Chase, Ellen Lee, Becky Kleinman, Julia Vance, Judy Donaldson, Isaac Altman Sagan, Rabbi David Nelson, Harav Ze'ev Yehuda Ben Devora, Tom and Priscilla Lemons, Sonit Pill, Jeff Bray, Arlene Edelson, Susan Lapidus, Louise Ward, Vicki Oman, Gail Tregor, Melissa Martin and her daughter Cassie, Ken Blumberg, Jimmy Krasnow. Continued prayers for Asher Guy Ben Chava Hirschmuel, the Medeiros Rockenmacher family, for Justin and Jen Alexander, Gladys Schuker, Jim and Carol Medford, Claudia Lieber, Nancy Lazaro Lieber, Bob Friedman, Kathy Nath, and Mason Lee. And please take this time to add in those names, those people, those loved ones who are in your heart tonight as we sing out these words of healing. Mi Shebeirach Avoteinu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Uyevarech Virapeh et HaCholim Elna Rifana Elna Rifana Elna Rifana Mi Shebeirach Avoteinu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel Leah Uyevarech Virapeh et HaCholim. May that healing energy go where it is needed. As we turn to the last verse of the last psalm, Psalm 150, it tells us to use our very breath, to use our soul breath, to give praise. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Kol Shema Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Kol Shema Hallelujah. So just a few announcements. Tonight is our last, what we call our last regular Shabbat service of the season. And though I say this, we will be gathering every Friday night throughout July and August. And we're going to be using 2 different formats that will alternate through these weeks. One format will be a brief Kabbalat Shabbat service, like leading us through into Lecha Dodi. And that will be from 6 to 6:30 in the evenings, on Friday evenings. We'll do candle lighting, some songs and prayers, Shebeirach and Mourner's Kaddish. And that will be followed by a Zoom oneg. So you could bring your dinner to that and hang out on Zoom oneg. And the other format will be a fuller 7:30 service that will include the Ma'ariv service, the evening service as well. So next Friday night, which is July 3rd, we will be trying out our first 6 p.m. Kabbalat Shabbat service, and details for joining that will be in the weekly update, likely on Thursday. It might not be in the Monday update, but it will come later in the week. And if you missed some of the summer solstice poetry last week, it is also going to be available on our website. There will be a link to that. I think it's going to go on live on Monday in Monday's update. And there you'll be able to see the videos and the poetry as well. And if you are interested in either taking a class this summer or fall, or in offering a workshop or a gathering or a schmooze fest or whatever, let us know. We are putting together a nice summer schedule and looking to the fall as well. So let's keep this energy flowing between us. So we begin to conclude now our service with our Aleinu for this evening. Hareini mikabel, I take upon myself to love my fellow neighbor as myself. And by saying that, we are also implying that we are doing that work needed to love ourselves so that we generate the love that we can give to others. Hareini mikabel alayet mitzvat haboreh ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha reacha kamocha. Hareini mikabel alayet mitzvat haboreh ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha reacha kamocha. Hareini mikabel alayet mitzvat haboreh ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha reacha kamocha. Turn now to Mourner's Kaddish. Remembering, holding in our hearts those no longer with us. We begin with those deaths just this week. Barbara Wolf, dear friend of Nancy Schaffman and Mark Kagan. Ida Bershad, beloved companion of Ed Snow. And we send our love to the whole Snow extended family on this tremendous loss. Krishna Rajagopal's beloved great aunt died today in Germany. So we remember Renata von Tobian, who was known as Rayleigh to all who knew her. And still in this time of Shloshim, these 30 days, remembering Toby Komen, beloved mother of Stu Komen, Bodhi Swartz, Esther Levine, beloved grandmother of Stuart Levine, Jerry Levine, and great-grandmother of Yona and Jordan. Remembering Rajagopal, Krishna's father, And Shiva will be this Sunday at 11 a.m. Wendy Green's mother, Rita Green, Susan Kessler's father, Philip Kessler, George Floyd, and all of the people of color, even into this week, who have died via police brutality. And tonight is the yahrzeit of Jennifer Walheim, beloved daughter of Alan Walheim, sister of Deborah Walheim, and beloved aunt of Liliana and Sophia. This is her 13th yahrzeit. Remembering tonight Jean Levy, Diane Betcher's beloved mother. This is her 25th yahrzeit. Remembering Bruce Bell's mother and Judy's wonderful mother-in-law. This is her 9th yahrzeit, Ann Bell. This is also the yahrzeit of Arav Alexander's mother, Sarah Ruby Brockman. This is the 27th yahrzeit of Robert Gum, Sue Gum's beloved father. On July 2nd, it would have been his 100th birthday. And remembering in this year, in this time of the year, Jack Vance, Diana Dessy, Billy Mortel, Helen Crancer, Chanalea Bat Vittel, Josh Crancer's mother, and Alan Finder. And we turn now to the words of Mourner's Kaddish.
We recite these words held together in our community, held by our memories. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam U'almei Almaya. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yithaleh V'yithalal Shmei Dekudsha Barechu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Damiram Be'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shamaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mrumav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel, V'imru Amen.
We conclude tonight's service wishing peace to the Shabbat angels and calling out for those Shabbat angels to bless us with peace. We extend chizuk to all of you, endless emotional and spiritual support and encouragement and strength. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Afuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom to you all.